Far cry from the hazards of motoring 70 years ago, where horse nails in the road were just some of the misfortunes that you had to put up with. Imagine then a motorcycle journey of that period from John O'Groats to Land's End. The record was set on a belt-driven machine, a Triumph motorcycle complete with sidecar, in 38 hours, 47 minutes. Well, gradually that time was whittled down, certainly on solo machines, and to commemorate the achievements of those pioneers, an exact rerun was made just the other day on vintage machines of the early 1900s. Two of the riders came from Leicestershire, one of them Colin Missen of Castleton Row, Wixton Fields. He is the chairman of the Taverners section of the Vintage Motorcycle Club. He completed the journey on a 1911 TT Roadster. Afterwards, Keith Creekant found him checking over his bike after the marathon.
It's a completely functional, simple bike. It's rated at 3.5 horsepower, which is actually 499cc. It has no gears, no clutch or kickstarter, which means that when you want to get on the road, it's a question of running alongside, turning the engine over by the back wheel, and then when she fires, jumping aboard. I'll just turn the engine over and see how she goes. Oh, well, that sounds fairly healthy. I think we'll take her outside and see what we can do.
Well, there we go then, Colin. Fired first time.
Yes, I think if I went to the extent of perhaps putting a new belt on her and giving it, of course, the nightly maintenance that we found necessary during the run, should have gone straight back from Land's End up to John O'Groats again.
How does today's run compare with the one 70 years ago? I mean, road conditions must have altered to start with.
Oh, incredibly so. I mean, we did use bypasses and little stretches of motorway to get round busy towns. Now, obviously, there weren't the traffic conditions in those days, and the roads were in terrible condition compared with nowadays. It is written that the road over the Grampians, which they had to go, was very much like a river bed. And in fact, fork springs were broken. They also suffered from punctures caused by the ironmonger on the road, horse nails and things in that description. But against that, we had school crossing patrols and pelican crossings and obviously much heavier density of traffic in built-up areas, and heavy lorries and juggernauts, etc., which certainly throw you a bit off course on a very light machine when they come flying by at the speeds that they reach.
You must have encountered a lot of hills and almost mountains, Scotland and down to Cornwall. So how do you change gear? You mentioned earlier on that you don't have any gears.
That's right. It is possible to unscrew the pulley and alter the belt at the bottom of a hill to lower the gear, but of course you've got to put it all back together again at the top, and this costs time. The usual technique, and the one that we employed, was in fact to try and get up the hill, or hills, and I'm thinking here of Dromocta, over the Grampians, Shapfell in Cumbria, and the hills near Oakhampton and Launceston. Try and get up them anyway, and then, if not, the climb is unsuccessful, you've got to go back to the bottom and set about the gear lowering.
Did you get many funny looks at all? Any remarks, in fact, as well, about cycling on these motorcycles?
Oh, indeed, yes. You turn an awful lot of heads en route. Probably the classic was the remark made, I think, by a holidaymaker at the finish in the car park at Land's End, when he was heard to remark, yes, but of course you can't ride these bikes on the road. When we told him where we come from, his remarks were unprintable, really.
It brings a new dimension to the phrase, can you ride tandem? Colin Missen of Castleton Row, Wixton Fields, talking there to Keith Creekant and bringing the time to 7:45.